Tuesday morning. Hello there. Nice to have you with us. And nice to see that our advocate has decided to finally, oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups.
Was that the beer or the whiskey?
Has finally decided to adhere to the company dress code.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Great to be here, mate.
Okay, you've put on the running order today, sequestration, liquidation and business rescue.
Yeah.
Why is it so important that we cover this topic at this time? Because it's not the nicest thing to have to talk about, is it?
No, Jim, it's not. And good morning, good afternoon, all, wherever you are in the world. The sadness about this is it's real. This didn't come from us. Jeremy and I didn't decide this is a topic. It's come from numerous people saying, just touch on it and clarify a few issues for us. And I think a lot of it relates to the trauma around COVID now. You know, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people still have financial commitments. A lot of companies did not make it through it, especially the events industry took a beating, hospitality, hotels. So a number of people who we know well have said, please touch on this, give us a bit of direction, and just tell us how it works and the implications thereof. So sad to bring it up, but Jim, that's why we have to do it.
Okay, well then let's start off by finding out what is the difference between sequestration and liquidation.
Right, so sequestration relates to an individual, you or I, or anybody in their personal capacity, and to trusts. A trust also gets sequestrated.
Okay.
It's not trusted. We trusted it a few weeks or months ago. It's not a legal body like a PTY Limited or a Limited, etc. And then the liquidation relates to companies, closed corporations, and entities of that ilk. So the one is an individual, and the other is companies.
Okay, let's go with sequestrations first. Why and how does a sequestration take place?
Okay, so there are two types of sequestrations, right? The first one is voluntary, where the individual said, I cannot pay my bills, the heat's on me. And the other is with one of the creditors steps in and said, you're not paying your bill, I'm going to sequestrate you. So the sequestration and the secret about it is that it gives all the creditors to that individual an opportunity to share fairly in the spoils of the sequestration of the estate and the assets. In essence, it's when your liabilities exceed your assets, you're not able to pay your way, the heat is on. So it can be voluntarily, or it can be done from, and one of the creditors approaches and has you sequestrated. But there must be value to the creditors. We'll get there just now, I think.
Okay, so, right, let's say I've been sequestrated. And then I pay off my debt to the various creditors. What happens then?
No, absolutely. It's called rehabilitation. And there are a number of modalities around it, but in principle, after 10 years, automatically you are. Everything is over and you're back to square one and you're running. And you're no longer a sequestrated individual. If you pay it back and you, for example, more than 50 cents in the rand, and there's agreement amongst all the creditors, you can apply to the master, to the court, and then you can have yourself put back in the normal play of life and no longer be under sequestration. So yes, paying back does help a lot. What I want to bring up, and people have forgotten this, and I myself had to be reminded about this, is if whilst you are sequestrated, money is left to you in a testament or a will, it forms part of the sequestrated estate. It doesn't come to you. Whereas your salary, you can still work, etc., would come to you. But always keep in mind, so what one might do is if in the estate you're left 50,000 rand, you might say, I'm not going to take it. Because if you take it, it falls in the pot. Sorry, that's just a little bit of silent advice on the side. I'm not trying to thwart anything, but that would fall into the sequestrated estate.
Okay, let's move to liquidations. So, same question. Why and how does liquidation take place?
So liquidation, let's talk about a basic company, goes around the following, where the liabilities of the company exceed the assets. In other words, it is illiquid, it can't pay its way, and that's it. So The creditors are knocking on the door, and once again, you can voluntarily liquidate a company, and or you can have an application against you in the court to say, we've had enough, you're not paying your bills as an organization. Interestingly enough, in a company, the directors are exonerated from this. They aren't unless they sign personal surety. Once again, we've mentioned this in the past. Please be careful. I don't want to. Many religions in the world will tell you, this is not a religious discussion, but don't sign surety unless it's really life and death, because life happens, COVID happens, things go wrong, and not only does your company go, but you and your family are dragged into it.
Okay, are there any situations where there's a sequestration or a liquidation that is requested, but it doesn't succeed?
Absolutely. So let's take the sequestration for a start, the individual. Mm-hmm. So it won't succeed if there's no value to creditors. In other words, if there's nothing to be had, you don't own a home, the car belongs to the bank, you have no cash in the bank, you don't have any shares, you have no equities, well, there's no value to be sequestrated. Rather have you carry on in society and move along. And the courts won't allow a sequestration if there's no value. And there are a lot of debates. You should be able to get more than 20 cents in the rand, etc., etc. It's not as simple as that. There must be material value to the creditors to be sequestrated. Liquidation, okay, so if your company is running and you haven't paid your bill to me, and being of a legal, it's going to be a very small bill. And but if you can't pay that bill and I'm going for liquidation, because I really want to put the nail in, it won't succeed if actually the company is solvent. So I, as the creditor, might not see, I just see you can't pay me and I think that's it, it's good night, hasta la vista. It's not as simple as that. You might actually well be solvent, your assets may exceed your liabilities, you might be in a situation where there's a cash flow complexity, and in that case, the liquidation will not succeed.
What is then a provisional liquidation or a provisional sequestration?
So this is important. This is a phase before the final decision by the master and the courts say, okay, you are sequestrated or the company is liquidated. So what happens in this case is provisionally, it gives a chance to investigate that status. Is there value to creditors? Is this institution actually still solvent? So the provisional is an initial process, but it follows up with a final or gets turned around and said, sorry, this company is actually not insolvent. It has various complexities in the balance sheet, etc., but its assets do exceed its liabilities. So then the provisional liquidation was pulled back and the business will carry on with various other implications, and it's a long lecture, it's a long university lecture, and I'm not going to bore you with that. But that's the difference between provisional and a final liquidation or sequestration.
Then where does business rescue fit into all of this?
Okay, right. So up to May 2011, we had a thing called judicial management. And what happens with the company is in dire straits and in distress. And what we now have as business rescue, a business rescue practitioner is appointed, okay, to run the business and to see if they can sort this out. In that moment they walk in, the creditors have to step back, they can't attack it, and the business is given a chance to recover. My personal opinion on that, I don't see business rescue really being successful. At the end of the day, is the ones I have watched and had some relationship to, is they pretty much go in. However, the advantage, they might be able to, somebody comes with money and buys the business out of the business rescue. But in itself, because once the practitioner comes in and takes over, the people who were running it have very little say. It all depends on the practitioner can decide that. But once this happens, this business is in dire straits. People don't necessarily want to deal with it because they're not going to get paid, etc., etc. Creditors get extremely peeved off because they have to take a back seat while this is going on. So it protects the company for a while, whilst one tries to sort it out, fix it, and get it on track. But I have big question marks about business rescues and how long they carry on for. And I don't want to speak about some of our government operations and the nonsense that goes with it.
Finally, Lance, one of the questions that's come through quite a lot of times actually is, are there any upsides to sequestration?
Well, Jim, yep, there are. Like anything in life, like getting married, there's an upside is that you have a partner and somebody to look after you, etc. But there's a downside is that all your rights are taken away. You have no opinion anymore. And sequestration, not that far removed. What happens is, okay, the creditors are off your back. The hounds are off you. There's no accumulation of interest anymore. And it gives you a chance to get on track. Upside as well, you're still allowed to work, you're still allowed to earn an income. There's some things you can't do. You can't be a trustee. You can't have a liquor license. You can't apply for one. You can't actually produce or sell liquor. So there are a number of things that you can't do. And of course, there's a stigma. Okay? But at the end of the day is life happens and life is tough. And if you're in that situation and it just gets too hot and there is an ability to sequestrate you, don't only see the downside. The upside is you have a life, you have a family, and you have to get on with it. So there is an upside to it, is that dark cloud over you and the stress does go away. But remember, there's some things you can't do thereafter.
Right. It was a bit of a heavy one.
Yeah, sorry, Jim. Sorry, guys, but it's important. This is the questions that come to us, so we have to share these dark ones as well.
Yeah, good. Let's go for a beer.
Only one after that. I hope not more.
Advocate Lance Brogden joins us next week, Tuesday, once again, right here on Mansfield Today. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.